Hi, and welcome to California Apartment Association's online forum webinar, where we're going to discuss for both our members and non-members who are interested, as well as members who don't have this current service, the ability to fill out forms online and create your own bundles and solutions for your properties. I'm Kevin Pellegrino with the California Apartment Association. Topics we're going to talk about is logging into the online form system. It's very simple from the CAA perspective, and if you can't log in, simply give CAA a call and we will help you with your login capabilities. We'll talk about the first-time login and then where do you go from there. We'll talk about our favorites package, your favorites, creating packages, and we even have a contract wizard. That's a new functionality that Forms R Us has rolled out. Creating a contact, a client, and a property record. There's some importing options, and then we'll go through some tips and tools on how to make this process easier for yourself and more productive, including things like emailing, faxing, sharing files with clients, and then how to do even PDF documents if that's what you desire as well. That came up was, how do I access the forms from my CAA login? And I thought I would show that very quickly. This is our CAA website. After I actually sign into my account, normally when you access the forms for printing purposes on our website, people will go to this forms link here. However, for the online forms tool, you go under My Account and there's this link that says Online Forms. When I click the Online Forms, I will be taken into my account and I'll be told immediately if I have access to the forms, and this blue button will appear. If I don't have access to the forms, there will be a note there that says you currently don't have access to the forms, please contact CAA. Now, somebody had said, can I set up individual people to each have access to the forms? And the answer is yes. You'll see that I'm logged in as myself. In the CAA system, everybody has a unique login, which is normally their email address, and we can set their rights to either be an admin. They can be an admin, they can have access to forms, they can have access to helpline. You as the company tell us, each individual, and what you want them to have the ability to do, and we will set them up that way. If I'm set up for online forms here, when I click this button, I automatically launch into the online forms tool.
This is your main portal. When you first log in, you'll see these tabs, and you'll always be on the Forms List tab. This tab contains all of the forms that the CAA publishes for your use. So if you scroll down through it, you can just scroll like I am, and each little tan tab is a category. So these are abandonment forms, changing the terms forms. Here's maintaining and entering the unit, forms for that, right? So you can just kind of scroll down and you'll see the massive list of forms that they provided for you to utilize in your business. Now, you can also at the top here, a forms list, if you just click forms categories, it'll show you a listing of all the categories here. So here you can actually choose which category that you want to look at. I only want to see terminating the tenancy forms. And notice it narrows it down to those forms only, right? And you hit reset and it'll put it back. There's an A to Z function here. So anything that's blue means there's a form description that begins with that letter. So if you're looking for something that say long term, you click L, and there's long term. There's also your leases, right? Because this begins with L. If it's gray, then there's nothing that begins with that letter. And you can also search. So you can reset and you say, oh, I just need to find my lease stuff. Type the word lease and it'll show you all forms with a description of lease in the description, right? So again, these are just search ways to find the forms you're looking for. We're going to come back to this and go over my packages and my favorites here in a little bit. Just wanted to step across and kind of identify each of these tabs first so you have an idea of what they are. The forms list is exactly what you think it is. It's a listing of all the forms that CA offers. New form means if you can print it blank, just open it up and start typing. And autofill is going to allow you to choose a client, your property information, and your tenants, and that'll autofill the forms, which saves you a lot of typing time. And it's really good for compliance and accuracy. The Save Forms and Documents tab. So anytime you save a form or a forms package that you're sending out to a tenant to get signed, it'll ask you to save it into a folder in here. Of course, you can create a new folder on the fly, or you can just choose an existing folder to save your data. In addition, inside of these forms, these folders, you can upload your own forms. So if you have PDFs on your desktop or Word documents or images that you want to upload and share or utilize, you can do that here by clicking on the Upload New Documents button inside of whatever folder that you want to use, right? And again, it's fully searchable. So anything you're looking for, right here's your search box. Stepping across, Manage Clients. And if you mouse over, guys, notice when I mouse over these tabs, you get a little bit of help information. So you can kind of just leave your mouse over top of them and they'll give you a little idea as to what that function is. Right? And that's pretty much throughout our system. So client list and property list. Property is going to be a listing of your properties. This is where you enter your actual properties and address, and you can identify the owner, the property address, and then on the client side, this is where you would actually have your tenants listed, and then you'd be able to identify units. So if you guys owned 123 Smith Street and you guys had units, 1 through 10, you would be able to separate those units out here and say, Tom is in unit 1, Matt is in unit 2, Jim is in unit 3, and then help with your management of your properties and tenants. And again, we'll come back to that. I'm just doing an overview at the moment. So My Profile tab, this is one of the very first things when you log in, guys, that you want to do. So when you first log in, as I said before, you'll be on this Forms List tab. This is your default view. Click on My Profile and then click on Edit My User Profile. Underneath of here, this is going to have your username, and then this is the name for yourself that would be displayed on contracts for autofill purposes. So, you might have your name and you might have your property management company name here, the address of your property management firm, and just fill the details out and then make sure your address is correct. Because this is going to make it easy for you to send for e-signing and share your documents via email, and when your clients receive those documents, they'll be able to reply to you and it'll automatically know this is your email address. So again, you come into My Profile, edit My User Profile, make sure this information is accurate, and then click Update Profile, and that'll save it, right? And then you'll get this confirmation. You notice there was a DocuSign tab there too. Those of you that might already have a DocuSign account for e-signing, you can enter your DocuSign email address and password here and click Update Profile, and then you can send your forms and documents straight into DocuSign to send those out for e-signing, right? If you don't use DocuSign, we do have built-in e-signing already in our system, and each of you get 10 free e-signing submissions every month. Now what a submission is if you had 6 contracts that were a total of 50 pages and 4 tenants need to sign all of that, if you send it all at the same time, that's only 1 submission. So the more accurate you are with your information, the longer these 10 free submissions for e-signing are going to take you. And you do have the ability to upgrade yourselves at any time for $12.99 a month or $99 a year for unlimited e-signing. And again, under My Profile, you'll see a Settleware subscription status. That's what this is. And then and you can also just hit it right here under Subscription tab, your Settleware subscription status. That's our built-in e-signing application. All right. Going down through My Profile, you'll have a default username and password. Typically, you won't mess with this because you guys do the single sign-on with the CAA. So this is really not something that'll be of use to you. Online Forms Editor settings, I recommend leaving it the way it is. There is an option to use the old Adobe plugin version of our form system that requires Adobe Reader and a specific browser, and it just becomes a mess to keep up with. But there's a few old school people out there that like it, and so we do keep it around. But again, for the most part, I would just ignore this. Theme settings. If you guys like different colors, let's say that you want to work out of a harvest theme, you can change that. If you maybe more of a black and white person, change that, right? See how I got grays? So this is just your personal preference on what you're working out of on the color theme. All right, on down my profiles, add and edit custom clauses. So these are really useful to you, and you can access that menu here, and you can also access it under the forms when you're actually typing and editing in a form. And what it is a way for you to store little snippets of text that maybe you insert frequently into your contracts, so you don't have to remember to type them. So if I click into one, it looks like there was a test, but all you would do is click on Add Clause, and you give it a number, whatever, for sort purposes is what that's for. And we could say, you could call it like a, let's see, like a, rental rules clause, whatever, and, here are the additional rules to my, tenancy, blah, 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 whatever it is that you need to keep track of, things that you use over and over and over, little clauses, and you can click Add, right? And it'll be there for your use later, and we'll show you that when we get into it. So I just created one called Rental Rules Clause. Just made that up. No meaning to it whatsoever, just a blurb. Okay, down through here, guys, sent email log. So any email you've ever emailed out of our system. So when you send contracts and documents via email, this will go and be logged here, right? So you have a way to track it. Anytime you send your contracts via fax through our system, it'll be shown up here. And anytime you ever send an e-signing request, sending your contracts out so your clients can e-sign those, that'll be tracked here. So you got email, fax, and e-signing, all three ways to get a document to a human are right there. All right. Now, subscriptions, again, it's things you can typically ignore except for the Settleware subscription status. If you want to upgrade yourselves to unlimited e-signing at any time, you can do that. And then finally, the Help tab. This is going to be pretty useful for you. So under Help, you got frequently asked questions. So if you click that, you're going to see some frequently asked questions set up by category, right? And maybe it's like, oh, I'd like to see how to use digital signatures. So if you click on that, we've got 2 walkthrough documents. So you could click this link, it would launch a PDF in the browser window, so you could actually see that document. So you could print this and then kind of follow along as you go through and send your own contracts out for e-signing, right? So there's a ton of stuff you can search. Maybe you want to watch videos. Type the word video, search. These are going to be little video tutorials that kind of show you various components of our system, little walkthroughs. So again, you can just type video in the search FAQs. So under the Help tab, you also have display last pop-up message. So from time to time, the CAA or Forms R Us will announce things to you, maybe new features, or maybe there's an event coming up that CAA wants you to know about, maybe like an expo or something you could attend. We could announce it here, and you would see it. And then if you tell it don't show again, you have the ability to go under Help and say display last pop-up, so it'll bring it back, right? So that's all that is. Then under Help again, you have report an error with a form. As you guys are working through these forms, you may notice a typo, or maybe math isn't working in a certain spot. Please let us know. We will fix it. So what you would do is you would scroll down through here and you would say, okay, I'm looking for on the lease agreement, and then you could type in on page 3, the second paragraph, whatever the problem is, the word tenant is spelled incorrectly, right? You're just letting us know what's going on, right? And then you could click submit. So on that, it'll submit and open up a ticket with our forms team. They'll review that, and they'll get it resolved right away, and they'll email you back that the issue has been resolved if they do find a problem. If they don't find an issue, they'll still email you back with an explanation of what happened, what they found, and why it doesn't need to be resolved. So under help, contact tech support. So this is the way to open up a ticket online, just if you need help with something. Hey, how do I, fax a document out to a client, right? And then you could just, please call me, right, whatever, at, whatever number, and then submit. And that'll open up a ticket right away with the tech support group. Someone will get in touch with you right away and help you with your question. So this is under the help tab. All right. And finally, request enhancement. You guys, the property managers and our realtors around the country are the ones that use our system every day. You guys know better than us often as to, hey, I could really be, new tools and ideas. Some of the things that we've implemented have came from people just like you that have asked for new functionality. And a lot of times we do go ahead and add it because it does make sense. So you could be like, hey, this is really, I love the PDF tools are really cool, but it would be super cool if we could ... right? Let us know. Give us your ideas to make things easier on you, and we'll definitely take a hard look at it and see if that's something we can go ahead and add to the system. So that's help request enhancement. That's what that is. All right. So that's just a 20,000-foot view of the tabs, right? The forms list tabs is a listing of all your forms, and you sort it by category. You can search by the first initial of the description, or you can actually type a name. All right. So to actually get down into the forms here, you got my packages and my favorites are the first things that are sorted to the top. All right. Now, what is my packages? So a package is a set of forms. So typically you guys probably when you lease out one of your properties, I'm guessing you don't just send the lease agreement. You probably have 4 or 5 forms, maybe even more, that you need those tenants to sign. And so what we do here with the package is we give you the ability to add all of those forms that you need into a single document. And so it makes it easier when you send it out for e-signing or for via email to your clients because they get one nice document, long document in the order that you want them to receive. So in this case, I have a thing called the basic rental package that I created. All right, and if I mouse over the I, it'll show me the forms that are in that package. Right? So as you can see, we have the rental agreement month to month, smoke detector addendum, lead-based paint disclosure addendum, mold notification, move in and out, pet addendum, renter's insurance, and smoking policy are all in this basic rental package. All right. So now if I click new form on that, it's going to open up all of those forms as one giant form. Notice we got page 1 of 30. So all of those forms combined create 30 pages, right? I'm just scrolling down with my mouse, right, through this contract. Now you can click into a field at any time and start typing, right? No problem. You can also hit the tab key to go to the next field. So as you're typing these contracts, you can scroll with your mouse, you can grab the drag bar over here, or you can just hit the tab key and fill out the forms, which is faster, right, like that. So that's all I'm doing. If you go down here and you want to skip to a page, maybe you want to go to the last page, at the very bottom, you can just go straight to page 30 or whatever page you want to see, right? So that's what this is. So that's what a package is. It's a set of forms that create one giant form that you need someone to sign for a reason. So to edit this, right, under my packages, notice over to the right, there's a create new package so we can build a new one. So you might have several packages for different reasons set up, right? You might have a basic rental package, you might have a commercial package, or just various things that are geared to your business to make it simple for you to get your leases out. But if I click edit next to this package, on the left, it shows us the name of our package, which in this case is the basic rental package. And then it shows us the listing of the forms that we have in that package. Now I can grab these. Maybe you don't like the order they're in. See how I can change the order? You can just click your mouse and drag and drop these in the order you want. Likewise, you can use the little arrow keys to move them up, right? So you can follow those all the way up to the top too. Right? And it's touch friendly, again, for iPads and Android tablets, Microsoft Surface, whatever you have, no problem. And on the right is the list of forms. So all the forms on the right side will be here unless you've already got them added to your package, right? As you add them from here, they're going to disappear because they're already over in your package. So this is how you would build a package. So once you're happy with your package, click Save Package. And it brings you right back to here, and you can mouse over and see the listing of your forms in that package in what order. All right. Again, to create a new one, you would click Create New Package. It'll give you a little wizard. You could say my termination package. Maybe you have, lease termination or whatever. Let's call it lease termination package. And in this, you might have, and again, I'm not going to choose the correct forms here. That's up to you guys. I'm just going to choose a few random forms here, right? So you're like, oh, yeah, they need miscellaneous. I want this one. I want that one. Terminating this one and that one. So let's say that these are the forms that you wanted in your termination package, right? And again, this is not accurate. I understand that. This is just for demonstration purposes. So you choose these forms and you click Create New Package. Notice now we have the new lease termination package that I actually just created today, today's date, and then there's our existing one, right? So that's how you create packages and modify them. Again, a set of forms as one giant form so you can email, send out for e-signing to your clients. Now favorites. Favorites are typically, you want to go ahead and go down through the forms list and mark all of the forms that you use a lot as a favorite. So if you're cruising down and, through this and you're like, okay, I'm going down through these and entering the tenancy, maybe this is a month-to-month agreement, this lease agreement. I'm just randomly picking things. Smoke detector, right, addendum. So I'm just choosing 4 or 5 different bed bug addendum. Maybe I use that. And I go in and then I click favorite. So as I check mark these off to the left, notice the check marks, right? So you put check marks next to the forms that you want to be your favorite, and then click on favorite. And then notice at the top, I now have those 4 forms listed under my favorites category right away. So again, you would want to mark any forms that you use a lot over and over and over as favorites, so you would just see them right up top and not really have to search for them. All right, so that's what that is. Now, we're going to continue on into we're going to use the contract wizard, right? So as I mentioned earlier, on a new form, if you click new form, it opens it up blank, right? And you can just start typing. This is also how you would print a paper form. So if you decided that you needed the blank paper form, you would click File, Print as PDF, and then print it to your printer. That's the same as a blank paper form, right? Or you can just start typing, fill it out, and then click Save and Exit, right? It'll save and you can pick up where you left off later, okay? Now the other option next to the forms is called Autofill. So if I click Autofill, that's going to allow me to search my clients. And again, what my clients is my properties and my tenants, right? So if I choose one of these clients over here, I can say Use Client, and notice it'll actually populate the unit number and the street and the address and information into the contract, right? And maybe down the bottom it'll have some info. I don't know where you sign, but let's find it here. Somewhere. Yeah, there you go. So here's a name of the person, right? Of this fictitious tenant, right? So again, autofill just plugs data in that you have selected from your clients, right? That's one of the differences. Now here's a field where you can actually type some information, right? This is a good place to where you could use those clauses that I talked about earlier. So remember, we talked about the add edit clauses that we saw earlier under the My Profile tab. Also, when you're editing a form, when you're actually in a form editing it like we are now, you can click on Add Edit Clauses to add more, or you can click Load Clauses, which is going to show you a list of your existing clauses. And then I got that rental rules clause that we added earlier. I'll select it and click load. And then notice it just put that text in, right? So that's a way, again, for you to have quick blurbs of text that you can quickly slam into these fields of descriptive fields on the contracts. And then you can edit it too, of course. So once you add it, you can delete, start typing right in the middle of it, and continue on. So that's how you would use the tools load clauses, right, for that. All right, so I do want to say the contract wizard here, which is going to allow you to do all of these things in a simple format, all right? So this is what I recommend, especially people new to the system that don't know the flow of the client, which is your property information, right? I'm going to show you a property tenant, so you can see what that looks like prior to going to the contract wizard. So this is your resident tenant, so you would put the unit number, the names of the people that are in this particular property, and then you got resident 1 through 4 that you can add all the information about. Notes, that's just for your own personal information. It doesn't get mapped anywhere, but maybe you want to note something about these tenants or this property. You can do that here for yourself. And then property profile, this is really what property we're dealing with. And so in this case, it'll show you a list of your properties and you choose the one that they're dealing with at the moment, right? And then you can add new properties as you need to. And over on the tenant side, you would have already selected the property and you would just tell it what unit that you're in, right? And again, the pop-ups, right? So when you mouse over these fields and you leave the mouse, it'll give you some info as you go. All right. So manage clients, if we wanted to add a new one from scratch, let's do that. Add new client, all right? So if these new clients, if they're going to be in an existing property we already have, we would first click on the property profile tab, and then we would click on the property that they're in, right? We would choose one. So what we want to do is first add a property profile. We're going to make one up here, all right? So click on add new property profile. We're going to discard the changes. So we're going to add a property profile. We're going to give this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. CAA training is the property profile. We're just going to name it. This could be, 123 Meadowbrook Drive, right? Whatever your property's at. So I'll say CAA Drive, we'll call it. Then down here, I'll just say, here's the owner, agent, and the address will be 12345 CAA Street, maybe Mento, California, and then 41103, just making stuff up. All right, down here, this is the street address, and had you done this first, I do believe the full address will just populate automatically. But based on the way the contracts work, sometimes the contracts want the full address and sometimes they just need a street address plugged in, and that's why we have multiple fields for that. All right, so as you can see, I'm just going down through, filling out the property information. And I'm just going to make up, stuff out here for, all right, phone numbers and this other information. So I'll make one here for myself, my Gmail account. Okay, so this is for the property profile, and I've got it all filled out here. If I click on the owner profile, I can add the owner information too. So I could say, and this is just for your own record keeping, of course. So you fill out your address of the owner. The owner will have his own address. And we'll just keep cruising. And whatever, right? So just making stuff up here. So you cruise down and you can say owner@gmail.com, right? So we've got all this filled out. So this is your property owner detail that you want to fill out. And on back to the property profile tab, the property we're dealing with is 12345 CAA Drive, and this is the owner agent, and this is the address and information for that property. So now we want to click on Save as New Property, because notice it says changes are not saved yet. So Save as New Property. And then it says New Property Created. All right. Now, we'll return to the client out here. And if we wanted to go into Add New Client, so this is going to be our tenants that we're going to put into that property. First thing is Property Profile. Then you click on the profile list. Hey, and there it is, right? There's the 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And then notice it populates all that data. It says this is the owner information from the owner tab that we filled out. And then this is the property manager and the property information on this tab, right here in this column, right? That we just got done doing prior to this step. So now that we've chosen 12345 CAA Drive as our property, we now want to get these tenants into this, right? So we're going back to the Resident Tenant tab. And here's where we can say this is unit, maybe it's 1A, right? Maybe that's one of the units at that property. If there is no unit number, don't worry about that. You can just ignore it, right? But just in case you have multiple properties, or houses, I guess, or apartments in this development, this is how you designate the difference. So resident names, this could be, we'll call it Jim and Jill Smith. And then we'll just say we're going to have 2 this time. If we had 4 people, we would add them all. All right. And so in this case, we're going to have Jim Smith as the first one. And we'll say jim@gmail.com, just making stuff up here. And Jim's detail. All right, and I'm not sure why all these details are here, but I'll go ahead and fill it out to make sure it's accurate if it exists. All right, and then we're cruising through, and on resident 2 we have Jill Smith. And I'll say Jill's, and it'll be Jill@gmail, right, whatever her email address is. And I could just make this up too. All right, good enough. So you've set up resident 1, Jim Smith, resident 2, Jill Smith, and they're going to be renting apartment 1A from 12345 CAA Drive property. Okay, so we're happy with that. Now we just click on Save Client. And then we get Save Complete. And then click on Return to Client List. And inside of here, you will see Jim and Jill Smith right here that we just added, right? January 17th. And you can sort on these tabs, guys, on your property. So this is your Manage Clients tab. And you can just click on Modified, so that newest to oldest. See how I got January 17th, 13th, 3rd. Tells you the date it was created, the unit they're in, if there is a unit, right? And so that's how we do that. So right there it is. We added a property of 12345 CAA Drive, and then we added clients as Jim and Jill Smith right here, okay? So now that we've got that set up, if you're back on the Forms List tab, and we chose this basic rental package, right? Because maybe we want to rent to Jim and Jill Smith. So we click Autofill, and then right here's Jim and Jill Smith, right? Because we created them. Click on Use Client. And what that's going to do is that's going to take all that data that we just filled out, and it's going to plug it in to all these pages in the appropriate spots automatically for you. So here's Matt Maynard. I'm the leasing owner agent, right? Jim and Jill Smith are the residents. The property is 12345 CA Street, Unit 1A, because we said we had multiple units. We chose 1A, Sacramento, and the zip, right? And if you scroll down through here, you'll see it's everywhere. See how Matt Maynard's the owner, Jim and Jill are right here listed as residents, right? And we give you the ability to pre-populate 4 tenants up front. And so there it is again, right? So this, you can see what autofill does for you. when you enter your property information and your client information, it's going to slam all that into these contracts instead of you having to type it all from scratch every time. It saves you a ton of time. And so at this point, you would just complete the contract. You'd go down through and, hey, they owe me, $2,500 at move-in. The rent is $2,500 a month. The lease begins on this day, ends on that day. Just finish your contract. Once you're happy with it, click File, Save, and Exit. All right. And by default, the description will take the name of the package or the form. In this case, we use the basic rental package. So what we know is we can say, hey, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, CAA street rental package, which is what we're dealing with, I believe. And down here, we could we could choose an existing folder, or we could create a new one. And typically people do the folders by address so they can find it easier. So in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, CAA street, we'll call it. So we've created a new rental contract for this address, and we're going to put it in a new folder called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 CAA street. We click Save. All right. And there it is, right? So I have this rental package out here that we named 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 CAA rental street rental package, and it's in a folder, right? So if we go out here, notice there's a folder that we just created on the fly. So folders are with a gold star means they were created that day, so tomorrow that gold star will go away. You have multiple ways to arrange this stuff. Notice off to the right here, under Upload New Documents, you have sort options. If you want to sort all of your folders alphanumerically, click A to Z, and now it'll sort all your folders alphanumerically. Right? If you want to sort your folders in a custom sort, meaning you choose where they go, choose Custom Sort, and then grab the blue tab on the top of the little windows and move it where you want it. And this ignores any kind of sorting and just listens to what you do. So I'm clicking the top of these bars and I'm dragging them to sort them where I want them. All right. However, I will say most of you will really find it easier just to choose Date Sort. And when you choose Date Sort, what it'll do is it'll automatically sort the folder and files to the front for anything you've been working on most recently. So that way you don't have to look for what you've been working on recently. It's going to be sorted to the top automatically. All right. So again, we did an autofill. On this basic rental package here, we filled the contract out and we saved it into a folder that we created called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 CAA Street. Now there's that package that we saved. We can click Edit and continue editing it, right? Or we can come over here under Single File Actions and we can actually see the things that we can do with it. Download it as a PDF. We can email it to our clients. We can fax it to our clients. We can send it for e-signing to our clients. Digital Sign Other is if you have a DocuSign account, you would use that. Otherwise, you would never use that. You would always use the first one, Digitally Sign SW. All right. So I want to show you how you would email this package. So right next to CAA Rental, Single File Action, Email Document. And it shows you the name of the file or files if you selected multiple files that you're going to email to your client. By default, it's a secure share with no password. You can add a password if you want. I don't recommend it because it just annoys your clients. They have to type the password every time. And the security level is the same whether you choose the password or not. You have high-level encryption. All right. And so all you do is say, okay, review and share via email. And it comes from you automatically, and you can search your contacts for these people and find them as to who you're going to if there's an email address entered for them. And you can add, you could choose them from the list up here, wherever they're at, and it'll show you a list of the clients, and then you would say, Jim or Matt or whoever, and add it on. Or you can also just type an email address to go to. If you need it to go to multiple email addresses separated by commas, you can add as many as you want. All right. Down here, if you want to send a copy to yourself, CC sender. That would send you a copy of the same email that they get. All right. And by default, it'll come from your name, and it'll tell them it's shared documents to them. And all we do is send email. So really, it's send email, done. Your email has been sent to matt@formsforus.com. Now, under My Profile tab, right, if we go to the My Profile tab again, sent email log. There it is, right? Remember I said every email that you've ever sent would be logged there. So it tells you what time, who to, what you sent them, and what folder it came from. And here's what it looks like to your client. So all the documents will come from docs@formsforus.com. And when you click this link, the client does, this is what they see. So you shared that contract with them via email securely. So notice the secure link up here, right? If you click on view, they're going to be able to eyeball that contract exactly as you set it up, right? Because you filled it out and they can view it. Now when they go to file, they can print it as a PDF, so maybe they want to sign it and fax it back to you or scan it in and email it to you, however they want to get it to you, right? So they can print it. Under tools, notice they don't have any editing tools. They don't have any markup tools or any kind of clauses and editing. They can do nothing because it's read-only. It's what you want, right? So that's how you share it via email. Pretty straightforward to go through that process. So back into Save Forms and Documents, under that folder, single file actions, we chose email. That's how we did that. If you want to fax it to your client, just click Fax Document for your single file action. It'll tell you how many faxes. You guys get 5 free faxes per month for free. After that, you can sign up for only $4.99 a month, and that includes your own UFax number. It could be a local number to you. People can fax to that number. It'll come to your email as a PDF. You can also send faxes from your email and continue to send faxes beyond a trial here inside of Forms or Us. All right. So in this case, we chose fax to our client. It's as simple as this. Hey, what's your fax number? They tell you. You type it in. Hey guys, please sign this rental agreement for 12345 CAA Street, and email back to me at whatever, right? My email address. Thanks. So this goes on your cover sheet. So whatever you want to tell them on your cover sheet, you put it there. And then it's as simple as that, guys. Send fax now and you're finished. That's it. So you took all those contracts and you quickly just fired it right out to a fax machine, right? Again, to check it, if you went under My Profile, let's see here, sent fax log, there it is. Today at 1:45, what number it went to, what did you send them, and what folder was it in, right? So if I click that folder, it'll take us right back to that exact document. So, and finally, you have the option for e-signing, which is what I recommend you use. It's going to be a lot faster and simple for your clients too. So you filled the contract out, you saved it to the folder, you came in, you found it, and you said single file action, digitally sign SW. All right, cool. So here's what it looks like, right? So it says selected forms. It'll show you your form. And then over here, it's got your email address. It comes from you automatically, and you give it a title. You'll definitely want to give it something descriptive, guys, so it makes sense because that gets embedded to the email to your clients. So in this case, we were dealing with 12345 CAA Street, and we'll call that lease agreement, right? Something that your clients will understand. It also makes sense to you. If they need to sign this document by a certain date, you can choose that date. So they got to sign it by Saturday. So when I choose the 21st, that means that on the 20th at 11:59 p.m., if they have not signed it yet, when it turns midnight and becomes the 21st, it will not let them sign it. All right, and it'll tell them instead to contact you at your email address and that the document was expired. All right. If you do nothing, it'll stay there for 6 months by default. If you mouse over, it tells you. All right. So again, it just comes from your email address. You give it a name. In this case, we're going to have 2 signers. And I'm going to choose, let's make up a couple of my own here. All right. So let's say that this was Jim and, you know, the two clients that we were dealing with, Jim and Jill, their email addresses, right? Come down here and click on Submit and Customize Signing Locations. Now there's 2 options. Default signing locations will go ahead and send it out right away, but you don't get a chance to quickly look over your contract with the e-signature locations first. And so I always recommend doing the customize so you can actually eyeball the signature locations to make sure they're in the correct spot prior to sending. So submit and customize signing locations. And while that's processing, you saw the CC emails there under signers. That's if you want to send a copy of this signed contract to another email address other than you and the tenants that are signing it. And it'll automatically fire a copy off to that person. So it could be maybe one of your office managers in the office. So he or she could file that document away into some other system for long-term storage. So that's always a nice little tool. Okay, so once we said submit and customize, it summarizes the set of documents that we have that we're sending out to who to sign. In this case, we have one CAA street lease agreement, which was all those pages in as one giant lease, and these 2 people need to sign it, right? And you get the direct sign now option, guys. Now, if you have your laptop or your phone or your tablet, and you happen to be sitting next to these clients, you can have them literally click direct sign now and sign it right here and now, without actually worrying about email. And they'll still get an automatic copy in their email at the end, but they can sign it right then and there with you in front of them, which is nice. So that's always an option, direct sign now. But in this case, we want to eyeball before we send it, before we click on invite signers here. Before we do that, we want to click on edit signing locations. And what this does is it gives us the ability to review our contract one last time and make sure that truly these signatures are in the correct spot. So you can mouse down with your fingers, right? And just scroll them on the mouse. And you can look. So notice it does have Matt at Forms R Us and Matt at UFAX listed as 2 of the residents that need to sign. In the upper left corner will be a list of all the people that need to sign this. So if you had 4 tenants, all 4 email addresses will be listed up here, right? That you could choose where to put stamps. And so I can move these. Notice how I can just click and drag and move these stamps around. And this is the small signature stamp. I recommend using it because it's smaller and it fits in spots better. Our stamps are clear, which is nice, so they won't cover up anything, any text on your contracts. And so they'll pretty much fit anywhere you need them to. But we've pre-tagged all of the CAA forms for you on our e-signing system, so you don't have to spend time dragging and dropping where the signatures and the initials and the dates go. And as you can see, so far that's accurate, right? We're cruising down through and we're reviewing this contract or set of documents that are making up the lease agreement. And we're just making sure that, oh, yep, that's in the right spot, no problem. And if they're not in the right spot, or if you need another one, right? Let's say that on this page, this bed bug had done, and for whatever reason, let's say they needed to initial it, okay? And you didn't see the initials. They weren't pre-tagged because they're not there, but you want them initialed. So you go up here to Matt at Forms R Us, scroll down to the Initials tool, click on Initials, and notice it actually has Matt at Forms R Us for initial. Then choose the other tenant, which in this case is the ufax.net email address, and I'll click on Initials, and then I'll just put that there. So this way we're forcing both tenants to initial in this spot on this addendum, right? So that's how you can add additional things and items to your document as you're going through and reviewing it, and which is why I always recommend submit and customize so you can see for yourself that everything's in the correct spots. And so you're going down and you're almost finished and you're like, yep, that looks good, everything's correct. So you're done. Now you're happy with this contract. You've noticed that everything is pre-tagged properly. All right, awesome. So to save that one field, that I hit the little blue disc, and notice it says, you'll get a green bar that says document saved successfully. So that means that it froze our initials into that bedbug addendum page that we added, right? And also, let's say that you forgot to type something on one of these pages. For example, here, smoking is prohibited. And you're like, oh man, I forgot to, they're allowed to smoke in the barn, and now I got to go back and into the contract, and I got to edit the form and save it and then repeat all this process, right? Well, you don't have to do that. We have this other great tool on your e-signing tool on the left here called Label. So this Label tool can save you. So you click Label, and you could say smoking is allowed in the barn only. So, and you click Add Location, and then up here you'll notice it puts it at the top, and then you can drag that text where you want it to be. All right. So this gives you one last chance to superimpose some text and fill out your contract, so to speak, with text prior to sending it to your client. So what I just went ahead and said, smoking is prohibited except the following areas, and we said, hey, it's allowed in the barn, right? Click Save, Exit. And it says, do you want to save changes? Yes, I do. And now invite signers. Invite all signers and complete? Yes. And it says success. Your documents have successfully been sent for e-signing, right? So now what we're doing is awaiting for signatures from that. So you leave, you come back, you log into your My Profile, signature requests. Newest to oldest, every e-signing request you've ever sent is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 CAA lease street agreement. It's unsigned, and these two people are waiting on. And here's what it looks like when your clients get the email, guys. So it says CAA documents are awaiting your signature, right? And it says, hello to the tenant, welcome to the CAA e-signature program. A member of CAA has prepared documents titled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 CAA street lease agreement. That's why it's important to give that e-signing request a good description so your clients know what it is. And then all they do is right here as they read through, click here to sign your documents. So they do that, and they agree to the e-signing disclosure. And then they're in the signing room, right? And this is your personal signing room. You all have the ability to upload your own photo or your company logo here. You can add your name, your email address, and your company phone number. As you guys can see, I am an Optimus Prime fan. I love Transformers. So Optimus is my logo. When I click here to review and sign, this is what your clients are going to see. So it tells them, signing instructions, review and sign in 10 locations, right? So they get started. It kind of walks them right through it, right? And they can either keep clicking next to all the correct spots, and they can also just hit the tab key. So right now I'm just hitting the tab key. Now I'm going to skip that initial, right? I'm just going to act like I'm too cool for school and I'm tired of all these 500 documents, and I'm just going to sign the one just as fast as I can, and I'm probably missed a few, right, on purpose. All right, and then when I click next, it says, hey, not so fast. It brings them right back and says, hey, man, you need to do this. So, oh, okay, I missed that one. Next. And it says, oh, you also missed this one. Now, if I type my name wrong, and notice what it says. All signature locations have to have the same name. So it's very good to keeping things consistent, which is great for compliance for you and your contracts. Once I complete it and it's happy, you get this message at the top. I'm applying my e-signature, and finish and submit. And then it thanks you. You have successfully signed the documents, right? So now back over here, if we hit refresh, notice our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 CAA street lease agreement is now partially signed because Matt at Forms or Us signed it. We're still waiting on Matt at UFAX, right? So to complete the agreement, I'll just go in here, I'll direct sign it now, because obviously we don't need to see what it looks like twice, but I do want you to see quickly what it looks like finished. All right, so I'm going to zip through this, get started, and we'll just go ahead and cruise through this whole thing. and do the same thing. And you can see the other stamps that's already been signed on the other, just above, as to what the e-signing stamp looks like. There is an option, guys, if you want to have them sign with their finger, if they have a touch device like an iPad or a phone or a Surface. There's an option when you send out for e-signatures. There's a button there that says allow them to finger sign. Right? And what's nice about that is if they don't have a finger signing device, there's a button that says type my name instead, so they can always do that. Right, so right now I'm just signing for Jill Smith. We already signed for Jim. We're getting close to being done with this. Some of you may ask a question about the e-signing. Can we just adopt the signature and let it flood through? We could, but since these are really important documents, whether it's rentals or housing, we prefer that people take an extra 3 or 4 seconds for each contract they sign or each form and actually type their name. So that's kind of done on purpose for that reason. So now if we come back into our forms list and my profile signature requests, notice the status is now signed. So these 2 email addresses will automatically get a copy of the signed contract, and you, the property manager, will also automatically have a signed copy. You can come in here and click View Signed Document. So here it is as a PDF, fully signed, right? There's the 2 e-signing stamps all the way through, and you have a document ID. So all the things that are required for e-signing compliance is built in, and you're finished. So if I go back to the final signed document, it will say it's complete, right? And here's a copy of my rental package. So it's really that simple. So to fire it out. So again, it's under Save Forms and Documents. When you're inside of a folder, you get next to the file that you're dealing with, whether it's a PDF that you uploaded. I can do that now. So I can say Upload New Documents. I can click on Choose Files. I can go in here and say I want a new addendum. Maybe it's I'll just get this addendum here and upload that. So there it is, right? I got this in PDF, and at this point with the PDF, I can quickly just view it. So it's just an addendum. But notice that I can also send it out for e-signing, right? Or I can send that PDF and that contract out with a multi-file action, right? Or if you're visual, when you select multiple files, click Process Queue. It'll show you the documents you're dealing with at the top, and down here's everything you can do with those documents. You can still send it for e-signing, right? If it's a document that you've uploaded yourself that you're sending out for e-signing, you would need to locate the signatures. Remember, the CAA forms from the Forms List tab are pre-tagged, but when you upload your own third-party document, we don't know where those go. So you'll want to make sure you click, submit and customize signing locations, and then drag those signature stamps where they go. And finally, back to the contract wizard. So we gave you a base understanding of all 3 of these categories. The Forms List tab is a set of the forms. The Save Forms and Documents is where you save all your data, and it's where you perform your actions, like emailing, faxing, and sending out for e-signing. Your clients is your properties and your tenants. And then I want to show you this wizard. The wizard does all of that in a much simpler format, so you guys will love the wizard. So you come in and immediately click the contract wizard. On the left, the CAA has a basic rental package for you to start with. As you get your own packages set up, you can actually use your own packages with the wizard also on the right side. So let's start with the basic rental package from the CAA. It shows us all the forms that we need in that basic rental package. If you're happy with this set of forms, click Use this set of forms and continue on. If you're not, click Add, Remove Forms, and you can modify it. So in this case, we're happy. Use this set of forms. How am I going to act as my personal profile? So you're under your My Profile tab that we talked about early on in this training session. You want to make sure all that information is accurate. So in this case, are you representing the lessee or the lessor? And in this case, I guess we could say we're the lessor, right? Or if you represent both, you can do that, but just say lessor. Right? Or create a new client. See, if I click Create a New Client, it'll let me build a new property profile and tenant right here. right, during the wizard. And then we can save it and continue. But to save time, I'm going to click back, and I'm going to use an existing client. And since we've been using Jim and Jill Smith and 12345 CAA Drive, we'll continue to use that client. Now it's going to autofill all that data just like it did earlier. Remember when we did it the manual way, except now we're using the wizard. And you'll cruise through here and you'll fill this contract out, you know, whatever, continue on. Once you're done, save and continue to step 6. Give it a name. So I'll say new 12345 CAA street rental package. We'll go ahead and save it in an existing folder. We'll choose the 12345 CAA street that we were working in. Click save. And so the wizard will now save it automatically into that folder for you, and it continues on. So now it says, hey, you just filled out a contract. Do you want to email it to your client? Do you want to fax it to your client? Do you want to send it for e-signing? Do you want to use DocuSign, which is other, for sending it to get it e-signed? Do you want to print it as a PDF or just do nothing and come back later? So the wizard makes it real easy to follow and get these things done. And notice over here, if you wanted to send an addendum with this, we could click Upload Additional Document, choose Files to Upload. We could add that, which is a third-party document that was on your desktop. So notice now we're going to send this addendum and this contract, and then we could actually say we want to send it for e-signing. And we could say 12345 CAA Street, new lease we'll call it, since we're just testing. I'll send it to one person this time instead of worrying about 2 to make it faster. Down here's where I said you could do it with a mouse or touchscreen if you wanted to choose that option, but you don't need to. The default is just fine and legal. Here's where you can type in somebody else, the office manager, for example, office@myrentalcompany.com, right? So that email address would automatically receive a copy of this e-signed document. And that's a nice little thing for your office manager. But in this case, we're just going to send it out, click Submit and Customize Signing Locations. It's going to show us both documents this time and not just the one, because I uploaded a third-party addendum in addition to the contract. I'm not going to edit the signing locations on the package because we know it's accurate. We've already done that. But I am going to click Edit Signing Locations on the addendum because this is a third-party document that I brought in. I can click Full Signature, which is a pretty large stamp that has an address, it has the email address, the date, and the IP information all in one stamp. So when that fits, it's a good option. When it doesn't fit, use the smaller signature stamp with the date over here, right next to it. You can drag the date. See how that is? So in this case, I'll remove these. We're just going to have the one stamp. We're going to click on Save, Exit, and then we're going to say Invite Signers, and we're done, right? Now I'll go ahead and direct sign this now so we don't wait on the emails again to make this faster. We've already seen how that works. And so notice there's the third-party document that you uploaded from your computer, and then it says, hey, finish signing the other documents. I'm not going to go through this because we've already done this, all right? It's that same contract where you just go down through and sign, but this is what it looks like to your tenants, right? All right, well, I think as far as the basics, that wraps it up. The only last thing I would recommend is use the wizard because the wizard is simpler. Use the wizard and follow along, and then under Save Forms and Documents, when you save your contracts and you upload forms, by all means, get in here and play. Click on Single File Actions and look at what you can do with those documents. I'll get in another folder here so I can show you a bigger set of things. So let's say that you have this giant PDF and you upload it and you want to look at the tools when I choose a PDF. Compress it, make it smaller. I can reorder the pages in a PDF to put them in the pages I want. I can rotate the pages in the PDF. I can split the pages out. So if you had a giant contract and you only needed a couple of pages, you could do that. But likewise, if these pages were all incorrect, right? If somebody sent you a crooked document, right? You can also just change the rotation of individual documents, right? So you have all this ability. Once you're happy, click Save Rotation. save now, finished, right? So next to PDF tools, guys, just play when you upload them into the system here, into your folders. And you have tools that says convert to PDF. So any third-party document that's an image or a Word doc or a save form, you can generate a PDF. And likewise, we have a combine into PDF. So if you guys have many documents that you want to make a PDF out of, you're like, I want this rental package, I want this addendum, and I want to make a PDF out of that. I can say process queue, combine into PDF, and then it'll ask you what order you want them to appear. Give it a name, my new combined PDF. And as the tool says, it'll let you take PDF files, JPEG images, Word docs, PowerPoint slides, and text images, and any combination thereof, and generate a single PDF, and then put it in the folder that you want. Combine documents now, finished. And there's that combined PDF, right? So these are just tools for PDFs when you click single file actions next to them that you have at your disposal. And other than that, I would say just play. Send things out to yourself for e-signing. You can definitely just send it to yourself so you can see how it works. And when you get used to it, and follow that guide under the help over here, frequently asked questions, how to use digital signatures. Print these out and follow along. They will help you in your process. But I think that pretty much wraps up the training. Unless anyone has any questions, we'll go from there.
Well, let's quickly go through some of the questions. Storage. Is there a cost for storage, Matt?
No, actually, as a CAA member using our system, guys, you have unlimited storage, and you can share those folders out, which I did not cover in training, but there is a share button when you go into the folder to the far right that you'll be able to share that folder out, very much like Dropbox. And when you do that, it'll allow you to share it out, and your users or your clients can download all the files as a zip file, or they can just choose the ones that they want. So it's unlimited storage and sharing.
Great. There was a question about if my membership lapses, how long are the forms saved?
Yeah, so if you guys let your membership lapse, we don't delete anything, so it'll be there. So if you come back 3 months later and you log in, you'll pick up right where you left off. By default, all of your save forms and documents, which is what we were working out of today, stay in your main view for 1 year. And after that, they automatically move to your archive view. I didn't touch base on that either, but you probably saw it. It's a black button that says Archive Files under your Save Forms and Documents tab. And then there they'll stay for 7 years. So yeah, you'll never lose anything as long as you're logged into the system within 7 years. You'll find your stuff.
Okay. And I know you had showed that you can update, you can bring in your own form and add signatures to it electronically. Can they also upload their own forms and add them to a bundle?
Right. So the way you do that is kind of the way we just did that last wizard walkthrough.
Okay.
Since you upload your own forms, they're not interactive and they're not in the forms list library for the CAA. So you would have to actually add them at that last step during e-signing, and then you would physically take the tool and locate signatures onto your form where they go.
Great. Can a resident or tenant's contact information be bulk uploaded either from a system like Yardi or in an Excel spreadsheet?
Yes, the answer is yes. So when you click on the Manage Clients tab, you'll notice over next to Add New Client, there's an Import Clients button. When you click on that, it'll show you how to import your clients via an XLS file, Excel, or a CSV. So absolutely you can do that.
Great. And what if I have more than 4 people to sign a form? I know you had said there was 4 people, but there is the ability to add more, correct?
Absolutely. So when you have a package or a rental form contract and you choose digitally sign, and they're on the right side. You got resident 1, 2, 3, and 4, and those are there for pre-tag purposes, so our system knows where to put them for you. However, if you click 2 steps down from that, there's a field that says additional signer emails, and you can have as many email addresses separated by commas as you want. So absolutely unlimited signatures, unlimited people, no problem.
Great. And then the last question we had was, can we have different fonts for the different signatures on the e-signing? Is it possible to do different font types?
Right, so at the moment we only have the 2 options. Settleware, I believe, is enhancing. I've heard they're going to add 2 or 3. I can't confirm it. But at the moment you have either the ability to type it, and it gives you that clear cursive stamp that we saw, or you can choose the sign using mouse and touchscreen, which would enable the tenant or the signer to actually use their finger to sign their normal signature, and that would show.
Great. I think that's it for today's webinar. People can certainly contact our offices at our 800 number or email us at membership@caanet.org, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that we may not have covered in the seminar. So thank you everybody for your time today. Appreciate it, and we look forward to being able to provide more services for you and releasing more of these webinars in the future. Have a great day.